Hello and welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to be talking about events. Events are how you make things happen in your code. Now, we have been making things happen in our code using functions and if-else statements, but there's nothing really triggering those. We have to manually go and process whatever function we want to run. And, well, that's just no way to live your life. And that's a terrible user experience. We don't want the user to have to go in and trigger their own events. So, in this lesson, we're going to learn how you can trigger events using just basically plain HTML and JavaScript functions. So, the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to remove the input that's no longer needed. And main is just going to say main body content. We're linking to javascript.js, which is over here. And if we load this page up in our browser, and I'm just going to refresh, it's a basic page. Super simple. Now, we're going to create an event based on a button that's outside of a form, so it doesn't really do anything ever unless you explicitly tell it to do something. So I'm going to go ahead, create a button, just a basic button. Type is going to be, again, just basic button, and it's going to say, click me. Now, I want to add an HTML event on, and as you can see, Sublime has automatically filled in, or suggested rather, some different events. But what if we just did onClick? And in this onClick, we want to give it a JavaScript function. Now, we haven't created a function. We don't know what this function is going to be yet, so let's pull one out of our hat. Change main HTML. Now, this is raw JavaScript. This is JavaScript inside of your HTML. So now we're creating something a little more dynamic. I'm going to save that and head over to javascript.js and create a new function. Change main HTML. That matches here, as you can see, exact same name. And so what we're going to do here is we want to select this content and change it. So we need to use our query selector to grab this. So variable main is equal to document query selector main, and let's just start basic. Main.innerHTML is equal to I've been changed. And that's it. So we go back to our page, refresh, and what happens when I click this? The content changed. So now the user is in control of some of the functionality here. If they click it again, nothing happens because it's already been changed. But if I refresh and click again, it changes back. Now, technically, when I click this over and over and over again, it is technically changing. And you can tell because every time I click this, when I go to inspect the page, you can see that in here, it's actually changing. And just to double check, I'm going to edit this. We can see that it's obviously been edited. Click it again, and it goes back to I've been changed. So now we have some way of interacting with the page, and that's just one click event. What if we wanted to toggle the content? To toggle the content, let's add two different sentences that we're going to switch back and forth. So variable sentence 1. Hello, thank you for changing me. And variable sentence 2. Oh, hello, I'm a different sentence. Lots of exclamations in there. It's very exciting stuff. So now we can say if main.innerHTML is equal to sentence 1, main.innerHTML is equal to sentence 2. So if it matches the first sentence, turn it into sentence 2. Now, let's do an else statement, which basically means if the inner HTML does not match sentence 1, it's probably sentence 2 or anything else, because we're not being very specific here, then we want to change it to sentence 1. We go main.innerHTML is equal to sentence 1. Save, go back, refresh the page. Look at that toggle, just like that. Nice and easy. Now, it doesn't have to be as simple as just changing the text. You can change the styling as well. What we can do is we can say If we're changing this to sentence 2, add some additional padding. So main.style.padding is equal to, I don't know, 50 pixels. But if it's changing back to sentence 1, maybe let's remove the padding. Style.padding is equal to 0 pixels. Save, and I'm just going to go refresh this page. Oh, look at that. So, oh, hello, I'm a different sentence has a lot more padding in there. Oh, hello, I'm a different sentence, which is sentence 2. Sentence 2 has 50 pixel padding. Just like that, just like we said. Now, if we toggle it, it's going to remove it because it's going to go back to sentence 1 and it's going to remove the padding. Just like that. So there are a plethora of HTML events. It's not just click, it's on form submit, on mouse over, on mouse out. What else do we have here? We have on click, on double click, on mouse down, on mouse move. So when your mouse is over an element and it moves around a little bit inside that element, trigger that function over and over and over again. Careful with that one, it'll trigger the function every time your mouse moves 1 pixel. On mouse out, on mouse over, on mouse up. On wheel, so if you have a mouse wheel and you're scrolling through, that's a trigger. That's an HTML5 one, I believe. In HTML5, we have a bunch of different events. We've got the on drag end, on drag enter, on drag leave, drag over, drag start, drop, scroll. We have a ton of these. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to create a giant list of different events that you can use, and I'm going to throw them in the additional content for you. I'm going to put it in the javascript.js file, just comment it out so that you can see all the different ones. I might not even get all of them, to be honest, but I'll try to put in the most common ones that you're most likely to use on a day-to-day basis as a front-end web developer. And then the only thing you have to do to really change that event is instead of on click, it could be on double click or on mouse down, which means you're clicking down, but your mouse has not moved up yet. Or on mouse over, which means you're just moving your mouse over the button and it's going to toggle. In fact, let's take a look at that one. My page, refresh. And I'm not clicking. You can hear that I'm not clicking. I'm just moving my mouse over it. So now the user has some sort of way to interact with the page. Now this is a super, super basic interaction, but this is where the fun really starts. Now that you know what functions and variables and if-else statements are, you know how to toggle content, you know how to change the inner HTML, you know how to change styling with JavaScript. You essentially have most of the ingredients that you need to create a super dynamic, super interactive web page. Albeit it's very basic, but hey, you got to start somewhere, right? So with this lesson, what I want you to do is I want you to create a new function, and I want you to attach that to an event trigger in your HTML. It can be any event that you like, and I just want you to make some difference, whether it's changing the background color or the text color or the font size, you know, whatever it is you want to do, go ahead and do it. If you get stuck, refer to this code. I'm giving you this code as additional content, so feel free to download that and take a look. And if you have some extra time, play around with the different HTML events. It doesn't just have to be an on-click event. It could be any other event. And while you're at it, go and Google all the events as well. As a developer, I'm telling you right now, Google is your best friend. There's no way you're going to remember every single event out there while you're learning HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, Python, Node, whatever it is. It's just too much to learn. And you have tons of references out there. You don't need to remember all of it. But feel free to hop on the old Google machine and Google a few different ones.